Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. Good morning, I hope all of you are doing well. The news has broke this morning that Frank Lampard is sacked as Chelsea manager. I've got some things to say which I think needs to get through to many of you in terms of the reality of the situation and football in 2021, what to really expect, because I know there's a lot of broken hearts out there and that would normally be me. But that's not me this morning, and I'm going to explain why. Frank Lampard is about to be sacked as Chelsea manager, and as I've said for countless videos now, it's tragic that it's come to this point. It's tragic. Why? Because it's Frank Lampard. Because of the club legend that he is, what he's done for Chelsea as a player. And that's been brought forward into his managerial career. And I think it was one of the key aspects as to why he was given this role in the first place. But when you look at results recently, and after that Leicester game especially, that's why I came after the game and said, look, he's done. It's finished. It's game over for Frank Lampard. Why? Because the writing was on the wall. I'm sorry, but the amount of losses that we've had and in the manner that we lost those games, and including especially that Leicester game, that was it. And that's not just me saying it. That's Simon Johnson, and that's all the lads at The Athletic that wrote a piece this morning explaining why Frank Lampard is about to lose his job. Let's get into it. So, The Athletic came out with this. What went wrong for Frank Lampard at Chelsea? Frank Lampard's relationship with influential director Marina Granovskaya deteriorated. Ralf Rangnick was offered interim job last week for 4 months but turned it down. Calls were made in recent weeks to sound out Leipzig's Julian Nagelsmann. Leicester game was tipping point and morning after spent trying to finalise successor. Lampard shook the players' hands and thanked them for their efforts under him after the Leicester match. Petr Cech involved in talking to new stars' agents as form dipped. Some players complained about lack of tactical instruction and not being spoken to for months. Desire to re-sign Declan Rice annoyed Frank Lampard's bosses. The dressing room felt manager showed no empathy and were hurt by his public criticism. Lampard would have walked out had he been working for any other club than Chelsea. That goes to show most of those points are points that even we as supporters could see on the outside. We could see that there was lack of tactical awareness in Frank Lampard at times. We could see that there was a relationship deteriorating. We could see that there was pressure and the hierarchy were going to start looking for alternatives, which they were. We could see that the body language was off. And if you look at Ziyech, for example, yesterday, even though that might be in the context of the game, but overall, the last few games, you could just see there was no desire and there was no will, as I've said, to even sprint or run. You know, those are basics. And you look at the body language and it completely matches up with what is being said today by The Athletic. This is why I wasn't coming on here and trying to be, positive for the sake of just being positive. I'm positive when I can see that there is something to be positive about. When I can see that there should still be a chance given and it's going somewhere. It is leading somewhere. We are making progress. Cool. Be positive. Absolutely. Because it's all going in the right direction. But when things look like they're going in the right direction and then they plummet like a waterfall all the way to the bottom in the manner that we've done it, you can't come on here and expect me to just pretend everything is all rosy and sunshine and rainbows, because that would be me lying to you. I'm not going to come on here and do that to you guys. And I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to say my truth. And if you agree with it, great. And if you disagree, you have a right to disagree. It's as simple as that. Everyone has their right to an opinion as long as everyone is respectful about it. It's as simple as that. There's no need to cancel anyone. There's no need to try and censor anyone. There's no need to do any of that. I say my piece. You agree? Okay, cool. You disagree? Okay, cool. No problem. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to tell you how to think. Now, I come on here and I give my expression. I told you guys I expected this to happen. The writing was on the wall. You could see the players as a collective, not individually, because there are some individuals that you could see were still fighting for Frank. Mason Mount is a key example, and it explains why he got the armband yesterday against Luton, because Frank Lampard knew what was coming. I think that's a big indicator now. Now, the players apparently didn't know, and the players are finding out today. So that's something, for Frank to have known and for the players to not have known. Unless if Frank did, slip a little clue to all of them, I don't know. We're not there. We can't really say what's going on 100%. But it's key to tell you guys the truth and to be completely honest, this was expected. Now, it's not something to be happy about. It's not something to be happy about, you know, especially to a club legend like Frank Lampard. This is the one man that I've said, alongside a John Terry, Petr Cech, Didier Drogba, that you'd expect and you'd look at. He's at the club, he's your manager. You want him to succeed. You want him to succeed. You are desperate for it to work. I was desperate for it to work. Frank Lampard, let me put this into context. When I was growing up, who was my favourite player in the world? I had two. There was one outside of Chelsea and there was one at Chelsea. But their careers they didn't really interlink. One came slightly before the other. I had Zinedine Zidane that I really looked up to when I was growing up. Zinedine Zidane's just absolute maestro. But then he retired in 2006. Let's have it right. Frank Lampard was at the peak of his career, you could tell. And then many years after that, he remained at his peak. So when Zidane stepped out of the way, and obviously I was still looking at Chelsea Football Club, but at Chelsea, Frank Lampard had already become my favourite, you know? And when Zidane stepped out of the way, there was no one really to look out for outside of Chelsea. And I'm just looking within Chelsea. Frank Lampard was it. Frank Lampard was it. I'll be honest, when I was young and I was playing football and I was trying to make it. And it's not for everyone. You accept that. At a certain age, you realise and you accept that. But I was looking up to Frank Lampard. His style, the way he plays, his mannerisms, his professionalism, the way he carries himself, everything. Frank Lampard was my favourite player at Chelsea. Period. Simple. Even ahead of a JT, Didier and all of that, Frank Lampard was it. And when he left Chelsea, I was gutted. But I understood, you know, everything he'd done before that was absolutely amazing and the time was going to come. You realise the time's going to come. You're not going to stay forever. That's just the truth. But when he came to Chelsea as a manager, we were all ecstatic. We were all buzzing. We were all happy. Despite the doubts, and we all came on here and said it, despite the doubts that we thought it might be too early. It might be too early in his managerial career to be given a job like Chelsea, just having spent 1 year at Derby, you know, not even being an assistant, not even doing anything elsewhere. He done his badges, he got 1 year at Derby, and then boom, you got the Chelsea job. We were all worried. And we said, look, this might be too early. This might be too early. And evidently it was. You know, there's things you expect from the players, but then there's things you expect from the manager. And overall, as holding a grip onto the dressing room as a whole, Frank Lampard was beginning to lose it. And you saw the last few games, it was clear. He's just not ready. And that's one thing that you can hold the club to. The club hiring a Frank Lampard where everyone had doubts that he wasn't ready, that was a big risk. And the decision today to sack Frank Lampard, I think, is one where it doesn't really hurt Roman and his pocket, you know, because if I'm not mistaken, Frank Lampard was only on 5 million a year. So it's not going to be the end of the world for Roman Abramovich or for the club's finances. It's not going to be paying a 23 million like we paid Mourinho in 2007. It's not going to be like that. So for them, I don't think financially it really impacts them much. But what I am going to say is Chelsea Football Club, don't do that again. Do not do that again. Do not hire someone that everyone can see, including us, club legend or not. They're not ready and they're not experienced enough and they haven't got the CV to back up what they're going to bring to Chelsea Football Club, because it can only end one way. And when you have lack of experience and you don't have anyone around you that can fill in, that's going to come back to bite you. And just like it has for Frank Lampard and his coaching staff, because his coaching staff are all inexperienced as well. The only experience we have is a Jody Morris, for example, who was manager of our youth team. That was it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as I've said, has a Mike Phelan. Arteta spent time under Guardiola. He was the apprentice and now he's been given a job. You know, that's something. Frank Lampard doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. You know, it's key now. It's key for us to get someone in, and the reports are now in that we're getting Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel is going to be the new Chelsea manager. Some of you are going to be gutted about that. Some of you are going to be happy about that. Personally, I'm just going to give the chance. I really don't know what to think with Thomas Tuchel, because his record speaks for itself, but he was manager at PSG, you know, where at PSG you expect anyone to go in and win because it's PSG. Now, alongside that, some of the conflicts he's had with the Dortmund board, with the PSG board, with some players, I mean, I hope he doesn't bring that to Chelsea, and I hope everything is set in stone beforehand. Everything's on the table. Look, you ain't playing your games here. Simple as that. Yeah, you're gonna get along. You're gonna be honest. You're gonna say your opinion, but you're not gonna start causing clashes or anything like that. We don't want that. And if you're going to do that, you'll be out the door. Simple as that. So I hope that's going to be the case. The rumour is that they're going to give him a 4-year deal, which is a lot as far as I'm concerned. And it leads me on to this point about longevity. Chelsea fans are crying out for longevity. You know, Chelsea fans have been asking to stick by a manager. Let me tell you the truth. In 2021, that doesn't exist anymore. You know, that doesn't exist unless if results are coming in. It's as simple as that. If the results are good, you give time. If the results are bad, you don't. You know, you give a chance for rectification. You give a chance for the manager and the team to correct it. And if the trajectory is still going downwards and results are not improving, you take action. That's 2021. It's as simple as that. I came to terms with that when we sacked Mourinho for the second time. We sacked Mourinho for the second time and I was distraught. I was gutted because I really thought this was it. This was our Sir Alex Ferguson moment. You know, we got Mourinho back and he wants to come back. And this is it. We've just won the Premier League title. Give him the time. You know, despite our slump, I was like, yeah, come on, give him the time. It's Mourinho, for goodness sakes. He'll fix this. Come on. It's the first time in his career he's coming across this, but he'll fix it. And we all had that urge to let Chelsea know, keep him. He got sacked. Why? Because we were 16th. Now I look back at it, I can't blame the club completely. You know, I look at the club and I go, flip, you know, we were 16th. You know, if it was your business that had gone from 1st to 16th, right? You know, if I'm talking hypothetically, it's not just based on football, but if you had a business, you were a boss, and your business has plummeted that much, you're gonna look around, you're gonna take action, you're gonna try and fix it ASAP, because that's one hell of a slump. And now we know the details about what happened behind the scenes with Eva Carnero and the breakdown and all of that, which contributed to our downfall on the pitch. It made sense. But this is my point. After we sacked Mourinho, that was it for me. That's when I knew longevity, nah, it's not guaranteed. You got to work for it. You got to really show and, you know, put your mark on the table. You got to really get results if you want longevity. That's just the nature of the game in 2021. In 2021, if you want longevity, you either need a club or a board that isn't expecting too much. Not like Chelsea. An example would be Burnley. Look at Sean Dyche. He's been in the job for 8 years. Why? Because Burnley are not exactly expecting to get Champions League spot now, are they? But he keeps them in the range that they expect. Cool. They're happy with it. No problem. So that's where the results are coming in, because that is what is expected by their board. That is what is expected by the club. So he's doing exactly what he set out to do. Done. He keeps the job. When you look at other teams, now including us, where we are starting to dip away from the top 4, and even mathematically it's starting to become a problem, action needs to be taken quickly, because the gap's only going to get larger if it continues like this. Personally, I didn't allow myself to get emotionally attached to Frank Lampard as our manager. Hence why I'm doing this video now and I'm not crying my eyes out, because normally in the context of this, club legend is about to be sacked by Roman. You know, I'd be going mad. I'd be losing my head right now. But I'm not doing that. Why? I didn't allow it, because I knew what was coming. It's as simple as that. I knew what was coming. And it's tragic and it's sad because it's Frank Lampard. But this is the case. We have to separate player and manager. You cannot allow sentiment to get in the way. That's just the truth. You cannot. This is going to stand for Tuchel as well. And it's going to stand for any other manager that comes after him. If results are there, you'll get the time. If results are not there, you won't. That's just it. Why? Because money is the incentive in football nowadays. Please, I'm going to try and drill this into all of your heads now. Try and understand. This isn't 1990 anymore. This isn't a case where money is secondary in football and football is the main priority. Nah, the game's changed. The game is flooded with money, and you could even debate that money has destroyed football, which to an extent it has. You know, that old school way, it's gone. Football's evolved, but it's kind of evolved in a completely financial way. It's evolved just all money, and football comes later, you know? It's crazy the way that the sport has gone in, but that's just the reality of football nowadays. We can't exactly change it unless there's some drastic revolution that happens within football and all the players and managers decide to not turn up. But they're not going to do that. Why? Because they all get paid flipping millions. You know, it's a money game now. Roman is no different. Roman's looking at this as a financial perspective. He's looking at this and losing top four, losing TV money, losing sponsorship, losing... That all comes as part of the bundle if results continue to go down in the way that they're doing so, which is why he's taking action. Back in 1985 or 1990 or whatever, you wouldn't have had to do that because that money didn't exist, you know, and if it did, it was peanuts. So it really didn't make a difference, which is why if results go down, you'd go, come on, mate, you can fix this, go on, and longevity would be given. Hence why Sir Alex Ferguson came from that era. Hence why Arsene Wenger came from that era. It was all from a time where money was secondary, and now money is the main standpoint in football. Longevity doesn't come automatically like that. It just doesn't. It's the reality of the game. So do not, I'm crying out to you guys now, do not ask for longevity and just expect it to come just for the sake of longevity. That is not how football works nowadays. I thought it did. It doesn't. When we got rid of Mourinho and then I saw the breakdown with Antonio Conte, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It hit me like a ton of bricks that football is run by money. And that's it. That is it. If you want longevity, the results need to come in. It's a simple formula now that every single owner at a top level club is following nowadays. If the results are coming in, you get time. If results are not, you don't get time. Done. It's an easy formula to understand, and I'm sad it's like that because money shouldn't be the main goal in football. I agree. Longevity should be given. I agree. To try and turn things around. Absolutely. But the reality isn't what we are led in our heads by the fantasy we want to believe. It's as simple as that. The reality is the reality. Money's money. It comes to that point. Longevity, if results are there. Done. And the same is going to apply to Tuchel. Tuchel's coming in now. The same will apply to him. So guys, it's sad that Frank Lampard is about to lose his job. And it's sad in the circumstances that it's happened in. As I've said after the Leicester game though, this period is the perfect time to change. It is. Because, well, I did tell you guys that the possible reason why they hadn't fired him immediately after Leicester was because they were looking for a replacement. Which now we know they were. They've lined up Thomas Tuchel. And now he's on the way. They're about to sack Frank Lampard. So we've got Wolves on Wednesday. I'm expecting Tuchel to take that. And if he doesn't, I don't know who's going to take it. Is Jody Morris going to stick around? I don't think so. I think Lampard's coaching staff are all going to go as well. So it's going to be an interesting one if Tuchel makes it in time for the Wolves game. In that aspect, we can't even expect too much from the Wolves game now. It's as simple as that. But then after that, we got Burnley. And it gives a bit of time for the new boss, for Tuchel, to come in and really familiarise himself with the squad, with the players. And then we got the heavy schedule coming. Tottenham, Atletico, home and away, Man United, Liverpool. It's going to be interesting. I'll do a video on Thomas Tuchel maybe later on. And tomorrow is going to be your preview as well. So do keep your eyes peeled. But I think I'll do another video later on. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time looking at Thomas Tuchel and trying to analyse exactly what he's all about. And I'll do a video later on in what I expect from Thomas Tuchel. But there it is, guys. Frank Lampard is about to be sacked as Chelsea manager. And to end this video, I do want to give a little thank you, which we have to Frank Lampard himself. You know, if it was any other manager, I'd look at this and I'd go, well, you know, mate, good luck and all the best. But it's Frank Lampard. It's Frank Lampard. You know, the club legend. He is a club legend. Now, as much as we don't allow that to interfere with what he's done as a manager, but just as a person and as a man. Frank, you know, we all love you to bits. You've done big things. And we all wanted Frank Lampard to come in and succeed as manager. That was the dream. That was the pinnacle. And I'm going to say this. I hope Frank Lampard goes away. I hope he learns his craft. I hope he gains all the experience he needs. I hope he becomes a top tier manager. And I hope in the future he comes back. After learning exactly what needs to be done, after really, really learning the trade, after really, you know, being in situations where he's going to gain so much experience and learn so much knowledge. And in the future, why not? Why not? Why not come back again? And maybe his second coming could be the reverse of Mourinho's second coming, where it all went downhill. Maybe for Lamps, it could be uphill. Maybe. Anyway, we'll see what happens in the future. But I wish Frank Lampard all the best, and I hope this doesn't impact his future as a manager. I hope he doesn't just go back to punditry. I hope he can get another club, and I hope that he can really, you know, turn into the manager that we all believe he can turn into. Just the manager that he's not yet at the moment. So I wish Frank Lampard all the best. And I think I can speak for every Chelsea fan when I say that. We love him to bits, and we hope to see him back in the future. Simple as that. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit that notification button to be notified once I've uploaded. And I'll see all of you later on for a brand new video. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good one. Look after yourselves. I'll see you later. Take care. And peace.